हेलो एवरीवन एंड वेलकम बैक टू अनदर वीडियो। आई होप आप लोग की नीट अच्छी गई होगी। अगर आपको लग रहा है कि आपकी नीट अच्छी नहीं थी तो मैं आपको यहाँ पे एक चीज़ याद दिला दूँ कि आप लोग के हाथ में सिर्फ इनपुट करना कंट्रोल में था। यू डोंट हैव द एबिलिटी टू कंट्रोल द आउटपुट। नीट का रिज़ल्ट इज़ द आउटपुट। आपने जितनी भी मेहनत करी है वो सब आपका इनपुट कहलाता है। अगर आप लोग को अपने इनपुट पे यानी अपने हार्डवर्क पे भरोसा है तो आई एम श्योर यू विल गेट द रिज़ल्ट। मे बी नॉट दिस नीट, मे बी सम एग्ज़ाम अदर, बट यू श्योर विल गेट इट। सो डोंट वरी गाइस, जो होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है। तो इस वीडियो में हम बात करने वाले हैं हाउ टू क्रैक। क्या यार आकाश, तू पढ़ाई की बात ही करता रहता है। अभी तो नीट एग्ज़ाम ख़त्म हुई है, अभी तो लोगों को चिल मारने दे। अरे यार ये चिल क्या होता है? तुझे नहीं पता? चल मैं तुझे बताता हूँ नीट एग्ज़ाम के बाद लोग कैसे चिल मारते हैं। और बंटी भाई कैसा है? क्या बात कर रहे हैं? सही में? अरे भाई मेरा डन गिल तू। हाँ यार, मेरी तो नीट भी खत्म हो गई है। गाइस, बंटी गोवा के लिए बुला रहा है। क्या बात कर रहे हैं? सही में? ये गोवा के प्लान ना सिर्फ बनते हैं, कभी सक्सेसफुल नहीं होते। Oh no! I don't mean to say that everyone is wasting their time on phone playing video games. I'm just mentioning that no matter how productive of a task you're doing, like going to the gym, reading books, making actual traveling plans, there is one thing that's the most productive that you can do now, that is study for AIIMS examination. AIIMS is providing you another good opportunity to improve your NEET score to get into an AIIMS. So please don't waste that opportunity by not studying in these 20 days. I'm going to tell you my personal story. I gave my NEET and I scored 629 marks. In these 21 days post the NEET examination, I per se started the AIIMS preparation and got well versed with the AIIMS examination. I had a rank of 384 finally. So my main motto is to motivate you and to guide you on how you can read for AIIMS in these 21 long days after the NEET examination. Now I'm gonna cover this video into 3 parts. First of all, I'm going to cover the key differences between NEET and AIIMS. Second, I'm going to tell you how to tackle them. And lastly, I'm going to provide you some reading material that I personally used during my preparation. Now the first part is the key differences. Now if you're thinking that preparation is the key difference between NEET and AIIMS, then let me tell you that you're partially wrong. Now the difference between NEET and AIIMS is not just in the preparation. The preparation for NEET and AIIMS is almost the same. The two key differences which are, the first one is the paper pattern, which I am going to be discussing in detail. The second one is the mode of examination. There is a shift in the mode of examination from the pen paper to the computer based test. I'm going to tell you how you can tackle that. Now, there are the key differences between the NEET and the AIIMS. First is there are 180 questions to solve in 180 minutes in NEET, but in AIIMS there are 200 questions to be solved in a total of 210 minutes. Now the marks division in physics, chemistry, bio is equal in the AIIMS examination, which means that you need to focus now on each subject equally. Earlier sometimes some people used to study more of biology because they had interest in that, but if you want to clear AIIMS, you need to study each of the subject giving equal proportion of time to each. Next is there is some presence of assertion and reasoning questions in the AIIMS examination, which are total 60 in number, 20 from physics, chemistry and bio each. in NEET examination there are no GK or logical reasoning. Now, if we want to talk about the assertion and reasoning questions, these questions can be solved in a various ways, and I'm gonna tell you how you can tackle them very easily. So, when you're talking about assertion and reasoning questions, you have been given an assertion which is followed by a reason to it, and all of this is followed by 4 options. You have to mark one of the 4 options. Now, the first and the foremost task is to cover the reason and read the assertion. When you write the assertion is true and the reason is true, you are left with just 2 options. Now, if out of the 2 options you feel you're getting the right answer, you can mark it. But even if you're doubtful in whether the reason is the correct explanation or not, so what I suggest is you can collect 10 to 20 such questions and you can mark all of them 1 or you can mark all of them 2. This is a very mathematically safe and a logically safe method to guesswork. So as an example, I've got this question in front of me. You can see the assertion states that R4 silicon does not form silicones. Now, if you just think of the reason for it, it's pretty obvious. The silicon does not have any OH atoms attached to it, therefore it will not polymerize. So there is a necessity for the presence of at least one OH group to help the formation of silicones. Now let's see the reason. Now the reason states that due to the large size of silicon, R4Si is not being able to form silicones. Now before thinking that this is the correct explanation or not, we just see that if this statement is true or not. It's actually false because the R group, which at minimum has to be CH3 or can be H also, but we can assume that it's methyl. So the R group, which is methyl, is definitely larger than silicon. Therefore this reason stands wrong. Therefore the correct answer is C. So this is the next question, and ये क्वेश्चन के साथ एक क्वेश्चन अटैच होना चाहिए कि काइंडली ये स्टंट्स फिजिक्स लेक्चर के आजू बाजू ना करिए, आपको गंभीर चोट पहुंच सकती है. तो ये क्वेश्चन का देखते हैं. A man runs a certain distance after getting out from a moving train. Now इसका reason would be कि because the train was moving with a velocity of 30 meters per second, and अगर man एकदम से बाहर उतर कर रेस्ट पे आ जाता है तो वो गिर जाएगा, बिकॉज उसका फीट रेस्ट पे होगा एंड अपर बॉडी अभी भी 30 मीटर पर सेकेंड की स्पीड से मूव कर रहा है. सो द मैन हैज़ टू कंटिन्यू मूविंग फॉर 30 मीटर पर सेकेंड एंड देन ग्रेजुअली ही कैन डिक्रीज हिज स्पीड. नाउ लेट्स सी द रीज़न. द रीज़न सेज a man runs for a certain distance in the direction of motion to maintain the same velocity of all parts of the body relative to the train so that he may not fall forward, because his lower part of the body is at rest and there is inertia of motion of the upper part of the body. This reason is quite similar to what we thought. Therefore the correct answer would be A. Let's see how you solve a question in general. First you will see the assertion, then you will think of a reason for it, and then see the reason. If the reason is true, then you proceed to compare whether the reason is the correct explanation for it or not. If it's false, you mark 3. Now, moving on to the second part, the students, they fear this the most. That's the general knowledge and the logical reasoning. Well, there is nothing much to fear in GK. Students have an unknown fear as to what will be asked because it's such a vast topic. I suggest you read some latest current topics. For example, reading the Lok Sabha elections, in which phases which states went to election, in which states the general election as well as the assembly election were together. Next, you can read about some of the current ministries that the minister holds. Next, you can read about the basic geography of India, which rivers flows through which state. Now, I know many of us hated to remember dates in history, but remembering a few important dates like the Battle of Plassey and such battles could actually be helpful. Now, moving on to the logical reasoning. Now, there isn't any specific preparation that you can do for logical reasoning, but if you had prepared for NTSE or any such examination, you would have solved some logical reasoning questions. If you haven't, you can just Google it, like logical reasoning questions, then you will have some quizzes. Now, this is very basic and doesn't require any special attention, so I would suggest do not give much time to it. First subject, this most important, is the physics. Physics is often neglected during the NEET preparation. I mean to say that it's given a slight less efforts. Now in this examination, you need to improve your physics. I'm going to tell you how. First of all, what you need to do is you need to revise the derivations. Now in NEET, I suggested that you need to revise the formulas, mug up the formulas, but now in AIIMS, you need to focus on how actually you derive that equation. Now in our paper, I remember there was a question which was related to projectile motion. Now if you know how to derive the projectile equation, you could have easily solved that question. Now in physics, the second tip I would like to give you is to read the textbook. Now a lot of these assertion reason questions, they come directly from the textbook. Now if you know the text very properly, you can easily solve the questions. Such questions are quite confusing if you haven't read the textbook. So I would suggest you read the textbook 11th as well as 12th very carefully. Now for biology, you can actually read the textbook very thoroughly. I remember in our paper, maximum questions had come from the textbook itself. Chemistry, there is more weightage given to organic chemistry. In this, you need to revise some of the mechanisms. Now you revise it from the coaching notes, you revise it from the textbook at least if you don't have the coaching notes. Don't stress upon it too much if you don't have the required material, but at least remember the textbook. For example, there is importance of revising the mechanisms. For example, instead of water, you have been given D2O, then you know where the D attaches instead of the H from the water. Now such questions will be helpful if you know the mechanism. I am sharing some of the sources that I personally used. First of all, I solved questions, assertion and reasons from AIM for AIIMS examination textbook. Now this is a textbook which contains a lot of questions per chapter, but these are pre-solved. So you just need to cover up the answers and solve them. Although sometimes you will find in such books that there is quite a discrepancies in what you thought and what the answer is. I would suggest do not ponder on one very specific question for a long period of time. What you can do is just mark that question, leave it. You will at the end have 30 to 40 questions that you need not worry about that they would be important or come in the examination. Right now, the most important thing is speed. You need to revise everything from start till the end, and that will make all the difference in your rank, not just focusing on very specific topics hoping that it will come. Next, the textbook which I don't recommend personally if using for NEET examination is Truman's Biology. Now from the Truman's Biology, there are a very big chunk of biology questions. Now there are quite outdated questions as well which were asked in the previous AIIMS examination, but now biology is like 95%, greater than 95% is from textbook. So revise the textbook. If you come across some questions which are not from textbook, just skip it and do the Truman's Biology may say solve the assertion and reason part. Now next, you can also go for MTG's textbook which contains the previous year AIIMS examination. Now these papers are not quite reliable because AIIMS has been conducting an online examination, so this is all just based on what students could remember and there can be some mistakes in that. So don't completely rely on the previous year AIIMS textbook, but do read it. It will be helpful to get a gist of the pattern and it will give you extra assertion reason questions. So let's do a quick revision of what I just told. In physics, you need to read the NCERT as well as learn the derivations. For chemistry, you need to learn the mechanisms of the various reactions, and in inorganic chemistry, you need to revise the whole inorganic chemistry, as well as you need to focus some part on the salt analysis. In biology, you can mainly focus on the textbooks. Now I'm going to tell you some ways in which you can use to get familiarized with the computer based pattern of the examination. Now what I did is I had given Alan two papers which were held online in my city, but if such thing is not available, you can go online, you can sign up for some online test series, or you can go for some question papers, and those question papers will actually be helpful if you solve them on the computer. Now if you have given the KVPY, then the interface for the KVPY is same as that for the AIIMS. So mark and review, mark and next, all those things are quite similar. So guys, this brings us to the end of the video. If you have any more doubts, you can contact me, the links are in the description. See you soon and all the best for AIIMS.